Brothers and sisters, welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So the greeting I just did is a beautiful greeting. It is one of peace, and it means in simple English, may peace be with you. In our traditional narrations, it is said that there are 100 parts to the reward of a greeting. 99 parts to the person that's initiating the greeting, and 1 part to the person who is responding. Now when you think about that, let's think about how that relates to how we deal with individuals and each other. At this moment, we're all guests of Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light and Gandhi Mahal. Thank you guys for being our host. And in the month of Ramadan right now, we are all guests of the Lord. So without further ado, we're going to get the program started. I'm going to give you guys a brief schedule of what we're doing for the night, and then we'll have our speakers come in and we'll do a speech with some basic speeches, nothing too draggy, nothing too long. I know we're all hungry, so we'll keep it short. So brief schedule, we're going to have 2 introductions by our hosts over here. We have our guest speaker, Brother Saleh. We also will have Mayor Betsy Hodges do a small speech. And then we're going to have a short dua, and then for the first time ever in Minneapolis, we're going to have the call to prayer, or the adhan, outside at a loudspeaker out there, so everyone in Minneapolis can hear it for a couple of blocks down. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Julia Nairborn. She's the Executive Director of Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light and a professor at the U of M. She's also a colleague, my boss, a mentor, and a friend.
Thank you. Can you all give it up for Mohammed Jiwa? So Mohammed is our most recent addition to the Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light staff. Mohammed is our Muslim outreach coordinator, and he is interested in speaking with many of you about how he can conduct climate conversations in your place of worship, especially if you are part of an Islamic community or a mosque. So Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light is an organization that builds the climate movement in communities of faith. And we think it's very important for that conversation to happen among people of many different religious traditions. One of the things that we find is true of all religious traditions is that they have a deep sense of social justice, that in fact we are in every way part of taking care of the world that we live in and of our neighbors. So it is just a joy to be here with all of you in this month of Ramadan to celebrate the commonalities that we have and to have a conversation about how it is that we see the world and how we're going to together work for justice. Ruhel is my longtime friend and partner in many wonderful action-oriented affairs, and I'm going to introduce you to him. Ruhel is one of the most generous people that I've ever met in my life. And it has been such a pleasure to know him, but here's something that you may not know, which is that I've worked with Ruhel for a number of years, and until this year, when Ruhel joined the board of Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, I didn't really know much about his spiritual life. And it has been such an incredible joy to be able to walk together and to talk about the deep lessons that our parents have taught us, to discover the similarities, and to be able to, in many ways, celebrate this incredible world together. So, Ruhel.
Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ramadan Kareem. I would like to welcome you all here for Iftar dinner. First Iftar dinner we are hosting here, and probably it will be annual dinner for all year around. Ramadan is a month, 9th month of Islamic calendar, and that's called month of blessing, month of forgiveness, and also it's a practice, it's a training throughout the month. So how you want to lead your life rest of the year. And it's very important for everyone, and I think here in Minneapolis we all work together to achieve a lot of dreams together, and one of the dream is how you all be the change and how we can work together on the climate And since this is a disciplinary, this is a training month, as our community, I think we all need to put on our list how you're gonna care about the art environment. It's very important. Today I want to again thank you everyone. Everyone is a very special guest here, so thank you for joining us. And especially we have a lot of officials. So we have Alonda Kano council member here. We have I think other council members are coming in. Andrew, oh yeah, hey my friend, council member Andrew Johnson, friend here. Mayor also joining us. And what I can say is enjoy this evening, and this is a place all can work, all have the dinner together at the Azan. Azan is a call for prayer. We'll do that first time in Minneapolis outside with the speaker. So I'm very excited about this. About the climate, I want to see, what my mom taught me when I was a little boy. I always try to tell this story. So it says, take care of your art. You don't take care of art or your soil. If you hurt the soil when you die, they will squeeze you so tight, that hurt you. So when my mom died, actually, today is the 19th of Ramadan, I think, yes. And same day my mom died, passed away. And during her funeral outside, it was in Bangladesh, back home, that was a sunny day, very high sunny, like over 90-degree temperature. So what we realized, we see is some kind, the piece of cloud when we are in the Namaze Janaza, it's called funeral there for her outside. We put our body outside. So piece of cloud come over her and kind of gave her shade, protecting her from the sun. So we did not, until the media kind of noticed it and they published in the newspaper, then we realized, and I realized especially, that was a great training I got from my mom. That's take care of your art, take care of your soil, don't hurt your soil, and they will take care of you when you need it. So that was a very true story, live proof that yes, we all, our duty is to take care of our art, and we have to make sure that we treat the way we wish to be treated, to animals, to plants, to everything around it, and of course community. Thank you very much again, and enjoy your evening. Next. Sorry.
Thank you, Brother Ruhel, for your inspirational story. That's the first time actually that I've heard that story myself. Next, we have Brother Saleh. He is a former president of Imam Hussein Islamic Center in Brooklyn Center. He is one humble servant of Allah that originally hails from Baghdad, Iraq, but locally he's in Maple Grove. He's been a family friend for 20 plus years, a mentor, and he's also my boss.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you all, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for the organizer. And I was surprised Muhammad to call me his boss, because everybody is his boss apparently. So I'm going to talk just briefly about the significance of fasting. What does it mean to us? Probably I share with you briefly, because as you know, time is ticking, and to be honest, I'm also too hungry to talk. So the reason why Muslims fast, that's the first question. Why do we do fasting? First of all, this is because it's required by God, Allah, from us to abide by this rule. And in the Quran, and the Holy Quran said, do the fasting. It was prescribed to you as it was prescribed to other faiths before you. And the reason in order to achieve or attain piety. So actually I did some research trying to see almost every faith, they have some kind of fasting It's not similar, but it is one. It's all the same purpose. It's trying to get closeness to God. And I just want to share with you also what I found a verse from the Bible where Jesus said, when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face so that it will not be obvious to men that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So it looks from the verse from the Bible that it's, fasting was kind of familiar to the Jewish community at that time. And also, if we go back to the verse about from the Quran about achieving piety, how do we achieve piety? By being starved or thirsty or something. How do we get there? The idea is really is not. I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, even if you ask some Muslims themselves, that they are not aware. Like if you ask sometimes, well, all what you hear, fasting, stop eating and drinking from sunrise to sunset. This is actually a lot more than that. Fasting, trying to avoid all these worldly desires, those desires that could lead sometime to evil act. Like for example, anger. Anger is kind of something that every Muslim, when they are fasting, they have to control. And we know sometimes if anger gets out of control, things get out of hand sometimes. So this is, and all other things such as backbiting, such anything that create tension and conflict, and all the bad deeds looking where not supposed to be looking, cheating, lying. So all of that included, those will break the fast. It's not only the food and the drink. Sorry. Is that better? Sorry, I hope you heard what I said. I don't need to repeat it again. I hope. So, what happened, when we are, like as an example, one time our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, one time he saw a lady, she was arguing with her neighbor during Ramadan, and also she was kind of aggressive and was mean and calling her names. So the Prophet, to make a point, he brought her this plate of food. And he said, go ahead and eat. She said, Messenger of God, I'm fasting. He said, do you think fasting just from the food? You just broke your fast. What you have done, you violated the principle and the idea of the fasting. So that's kind of, the Prophet put it in perspective there. The other point is, the message we get from God during this month is that we are actually need to go through this practice by being starved, by being hungry, so we can think about other people who probably are fasting maybe all year long. Maybe they don't have the food, they don't have the opportunities that we have. And that's why charity and generosity is highly encouraged during this month. So when I feel hungry, and then I start thinking, wow, this is what hunger feels like. So you try to think about others who don't have that food like that we are blessed with. And the other message that we get from God during this month is that message of the social justice that Allah is trying to send that message to you, to me when I look at this message and I see like when Allah and God tell everybody has to fast. It doesn't matter how much wealth you have. If you are like Donald Trump that has a lot of money, or if you are, I know I get smiled when I mention Donald Trump. He's easy to pick on, isn't he? So if you have the money of Donald, or if you are a struggling guy trying to pay for his rent and struggling and working hard like Brother Muhammad Jihad, so we all have to fast. together. So therefore, that's kind of, we have that fairness. Like this is also emphasized in Islam when we go to Hajj. And we are all, when we have that experience, all the Muslims are addressed the same. As if the message from God telling you, you are all equal. You are, no matter your colors, your backgrounds, your status, in front of God, you are all the same. The best one among you is the one who has the best deed. What they gonna do to the humanity? What they gonna contribute? That's what God is concerned about. So that's the message. Really, that's the justice that you see. That hopefully, when everybody in different status and different wealth situation, they all fast together, they probably start to reflect and think and help. And this amazing thing about Islam, you know, even the punishment, if somebody is not able to fast, like if they are sick, traveling or anything, or not able to, they still have to make penalty by feeding poor people. Like there are situations you have to feed 60 people if you are not able to fast. So all of this kind of really circling. And if people are really putting the brakes on and they're not willing to help, there is actually, we have zakah at the end of the month that everybody has to pay money to go to the needies, actually before the noon of the Eid day, the last day of Ramadan. So the last thing I was gonna mention, inshallah, that's maybe another few minutes, is also our relationship is not really strictly with a human only. You know, this mercy that should extend also to people who are helpless, like all Godly creatures, like such animals, our environment. We are all need to be also active and involved, trying to reach out and also trying to construct this earth and help out as much. You know, the earth and the nature is being mentioned in the Quran in so many different places, like the mountains, the seas. You have some verses in the Quran when God swear by the olives and the figs. You have the bees. You have all of these. Allah or call them. Those are the signs of God. You are really required to take care of your surrounding and your environment. Reach that mercy that God, from the great merciful God, you as our trustee on this earth of God, we have to extend that mercy to those helpless things, whether they are animals or whether they are our nature or our environment. I just want to share this beautiful saying from a great grandson of our Prophet Muhammad, his name Imam Ja'far Sadiq. He said, there is no joy in life unless three things are available: clean, fresh air, abundant of pure water, and fertile land. And just to let you know, that's my final saying of our Prophet Muhammad. I mean, he said, to this extent, he said, if resurrection is starting and one of you has a sapling in his hand, which he can plant before he stands up, he must do it. See, the emphasis on that, that's like the last minute, even the resurrection and everybody is busy and you have that sapling in your hand, go ahead and plant it. That's the message that our Prophet Muhammad trying to send to the Muslim and to the other brothers in humanity, that you need to really go ahead and do your part and construct this earth and make it beautiful. Inshallah, I will stop here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. May God bless you.
Thank you, Brother Saleh, for that wonderful lecture. Next, I would like to invite Reverend Tubles to give a little reflection. He's a Native American Reverend from the neighborhood community.
Thank you. Just take a few moments to think back, if you can, 175 years or more ago, where we sit now used to be a great forest with clean waters and just a really good place. Itako Yasi, we are all related. My name is the Reverend Robert Tubles, and I'm an enrolled member of the Ogallala Lakota Oyate. I'm an artist and an Episcopal priest by vocation. My faith community, All Saints Indian Mission, is located on Longfellow Avenue in the Corcoran neighborhood. Our faith community has a ministry called the First Nations Kitchen, where we serve an indigenous and organic-based meal every Sunday to the community. We have never missed a meal and have been going strong since November of 2007. This is a step in the right direction toward food justice and is a basic tenet of most, if not all, religions. Feed the hungry. I hope we could do more. My father turned 82 this year. He resides on the Pine Ridge Reservation. It is sadly a place where the average life expectancy today for a Lakota male is between the ages of 47 and 48 years. It never used to be that way. His own father, Peter, reached 75 years of age before succumbing to a heart attack. He was a diabetic. His grandfather, whose name was Comes Again, lived well into his 80s and died in his sleep. I give this bit of information for a few reasons. The first one being is that we could probably connect this change in life expectancy to diet. Comes Again came of age when my ancestors were still hunting buffalo and living high on the northern plains. It was also a time when the concept of manifest destiny was in full force. The Lakota and other indigenous nations fought against this new wave in battles and warfare. Comes Again was at the Battle of the Greasy Grass, also known as the Battle of Little Bighorn, where Custer and his men died in a dusty, dismal defeat. He was a real Lakota warrior, and my dad knew him. I'm always staggered by this fact. It is sort of like having a grandfather for most of you who knew someone who fought at Gettysburg, the Civil War. My Grandpa Pete was born in 1900 and for most part experienced the full brunt of the federal government's oppressive policy of assimilation. The diet had changed radically by the time he was born. From 1880 to 1900, the Lakota began receiving food annuities that largely consisted of flour, sugar, lard, and beef cattle. By the time my dad was born in 1934, this is what everyone was used to. The government began dispersing surplus food, or commodities, food that was bought from farmers around the nation, surplus food, the precursor to big agribusiness and corporate farms. Foods like canned beef, pork, chicken, corn syrup, peanut butter, butter in cans, blocks of cheese, flour, instant milk, potatoes, shortening, canned apples, juice, canned corn, and other vegetables. Food stuff that didn't sell on the open market. Food stuff that was surplus was bought up by the government and then handed out in annuities or commodities, and what became known as a commod diet. My dad is a diabetic and has suffered through 2 heart attacks. Thanks to modern medicine, first with stents and later a triple bypass surgery, and coupled with a more healthy diet and insulin, his life was prolonged. And given this history, at age 52, I have to be vigilant in having a healthy diet with plenty of exercise. This story of the diet that has spanned 4 generations, a time period when the world has witnessed the greatest growth in population industries, manufacturing, the use of fossil fuels, and great wealth. It is also time that we could see the edge of our own demise through the destruction of our environment. We can argue and debate that this force, which came in many guises from the ideas like manifest destiny, or from a skewed interpretation of the Judeo and Christian Bible, or from unbridled capitalism. Whatever it may be, I think that we can all agree that our island home, this planet Earth, has an environment that may no longer sustain most life forms. I look to my son and his generation. with the hope that they will find a cure or a way out of this mess that was created by the generations before them. The Lakota has always said that we always need to plan ahead for the coming generations, the seventh generation. My Lakota ancestors fought in battle against a force that they could see that was now getting out of control, a force with an insatiable appetite that we no longer seem to be able to control or see. It affects us all. Mitakuya Miyashi. We are all related.
Thank you, Reverend, for those kind words and that wonderful story. Next, I would like to introduce Mayor Hodges. She is the mayor of Minneapolis. She is a huge proponent of social and environmental justice. She's got campaigns like the Minneapolis Climate Change Challenge and the Clean Energy Partnership, which is a one-of-a-kind process to create local, clean, and renewable energy. It is also being used as a model to implement in other cities. Please welcome Mayor Betsy Hodges.
Well, good evening. It's a little challenging, but to be one of the few things left between people and breaking their fast. But there are a lot of reasons I'm so glad and so proud to be here with you tonight. As a mayor, it does my heart good to see the community come together. And the community come together around food is such a powerful, powerful thing for us to do when you have broken bread with people, when you have shared a meal with people, when you have shared food. All of a sudden you cannot see people the same way. Way back, before I was on the city council, I had put something together called the Dinner Project, which was designed to get people from different parts of the city to break bread with one another so that we could perhaps understand one another better and come to some agreement about how we wanted to move forward together as a people. It's also significant that it's not just any meal that we will be sharing, that it is a great honor and to be here at Iftar, to be sharing the breaking of the fast during a holy season with people, to understand and honor that part of such a significant portion of Minneapolis's people's faith, to share that and be here for that together. Also, just as a mayor, as a human being, is something that means a great deal to me, to be somebody who cares about the earth and who cares about what's happening with our climate and who cares about how we move forward together to make sure that we keep our planet a place that we can all live together and we can all live healthily together. It's an extraordinary thing to come here tonight, but I think the reason I'm most glad to be here and to connect tonight is that I am a woman of faith. And I know that there are so many faiths that call on us to come together as people, to break bread together and to think about our communal health and to think about our community health and to think about our physical health, and does not acknowledge the distinctions between those things. That we have to be healthy in body, as healthy as we can make one another as a community, to be healthy in community, to be healthy in spirit, to be healthy in mind, all together. And that these things are seamlessly intertwined. And I think tonight, what's happening here tonight is the best example of that we could give. People from all across the community coming together to acknowledge faith, to acknowledge food and the importance that it plays in all of our lives together. I think that's the most important thing for me being in the room tonight, is just as a person and a person of faith, coming together with people all across the community. So for everybody who is here tonight, and for all the reasons that we've all come here tonight, thank you for creating this room. Thank you for creating this spirit. Thank you for creating this opportunity for all of us to come together, to know each other better, to experience one another's lives and worlds more, and to do it over food, which is one of the most important ways that we can connect with one another as people. So welcome to one of the best things Minneapolis has to offer, is this room here tonight and all of you in it.
Thank you so much, Mayor Hodges. So the next few items on the agenda, we're going to do a short dua, which is a supplication or a prayer. And then in about 10, 12 minutes, we're going to do the azan, call to prayer. And while that's going on, while we're doing the dua and while we're going to do the adhan, we're going to have you guys kind of make a line for the buffet. So we're going to start a line up, just go here and go all the way around, I guess, probably the best way.
We need to decide which tables go.
Which table? You guys want to just do tables? Okay,
Let
so...
people know there's about 50% more people than these.
Okay. So the good thing is there's a lot of people here, a lot more than we expected, which is awesome, which is actually what we expect in Ramadan. Brother Ruhel was telling me about a story, and just in their culture, tradition, and faith, we usually keep extra food for people, just in case neighbors come by, stop by to say hi. We always want to give them some food and serve them some, at least some refreshments or something. But there is plenty of food, so please get your fill. There might even be seconds and thirds. Definitely keep going back in line until it's done. But yeah.
We have to wait for call for prayer.
We do have to wait, yes. So that's the whole thing. So we're not going to eat actually until we hear the adhan and the call to prayer. And then after we break and we sit down and we're eating, we're going to break a little bit for those who want to pray salah or do the prayers. It's going to be out in the parking lot, so we'll break for about 5 minutes to do that. And then when we come back, we're going to actually start a conversation. We're going to have an open floor discussion / conversation. Just about what we think, what we feel, just about how the night's going and things like that. Anything else? Yeah.
I'm always good at giving instructions. I think what we need to do is we need to sort of make a plan about how this is going to go. Those of you who are seated, why don't you stay seated? And those of you who are not seated and are waiting to be seated, why don't you go through the buffet, and then there's going to be seating in the kebab room over here. Is this good? And so while we're doing the prayer, you can be getting your food and filing out. When they're done, we'll start on this end, and we'll move to the back to get your food. Not everyone will be probably served before the iftar at 9:03. So if you're not served, we also have dates and grapes and drinks on the table to get people started. So I'm going to hand it to you, Ruhel. Okay, so what we need is for somebody to sort of take some, let's form a line, so move on back here, and you're going to go straight through the line and then back into the kebab room.
Do we have anybody here who wants to recite a dua or has a specific or special dua or prayer or supplication that they want to recite before?
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
80 whole miles? 80 whole miles? 18
No, it came with 10 miles.
Oh, man.
We've already driven 10.